Today's Saturday, November 6th, 2021, and this is going to be a ramble video just about stuff that's current events in the news. So, of course, a lot of stuff about the shot, and I'll just try to briefly talk about it, go through all the slides, because the more I ramble, the more likely it is that the Gestapo, government, Big Brother comes in and starts censoring things. It's crazy just to see how censored everything is these days. And America did used to have a sense of freedom, a feeling of freedom, and hey, this is America, I can say whatever I want. And nowadays, there's not even the illusion of that anymore. And it it's basically communist China at this point. It's just that they can play off this thing of, oh, it's not communist China. It's this thing about companies get to do whatever they want. They'll just say, well, it's not the government censoring. It's Facebook gets to choose what they want on their platform. YouTube gets to choose what, but that is the government. It's the same thing. And anyways, so much orange. The only way I'm going to get through this is if I just flip through slides as fast as I can. So much orange with all of this corona stuff. It's still, I think the answer is just that they're really stupid, the Orange 33 club members. I think that, and maybe for them, they even have their own you can't see the forest for the trees thing. Maybe it was easier for people on the outside to realize, oh wow, that Orange 33 club sure is evil and dumb, and you can see that it's all just a big illusion, that imposter syndrome. It's just a bunch of Wizard of Oz people pretending, going along with the show, but they buy into it. So many of them buy into the very system that they're a part of. Anyways, that's like just something I'll never get past. I think that a lot of them just are duped. They're stupid. They're dumb. Deceiving and being deceived. I think that to a certain extent, a lot of them, all they understand is hand signs and Orange 33. Besides that, they're just as duped as anybody else. Anyways, uh, it's really sad. That's like a big topic of today, why I'm doing this video. Just something so sad about how, okay, now it's being pushed on the children. They can't consent to this stuff, but I mean, most of them have parents, these psycho parents that are pushing propaganda on their children. So a lot of young people will go along with this stuff, and they think it's good, but only because, for sick reasons, only because they're being told things can go back to normal if you just have these medical procedures done against your will. And no, it's never going back to normal. I guess that's another main point of this video. There would be no reason for them to push all this on children. There'd be no reason for the masks in kindergarten if things were going back to normal. This is never going back to normal, and it's just like 9/11 with the shoes thing. We still take our shoes off at the airport. That's never changing. The masks, they'll come and go, but it's never going away for good. It makes me think of how in times past people have said it's going to be Sharia law all over Earth. Well, okay, and now we have mandatory face coverings all over Earth. And what I wanted to talk about with this slide is you can see the way that they use words to try to influence things. And so here, they're all about talking about shots going into arms, and that's all about depersonalization. They're not saying giving children injections. They're very careful about the way that they word things, and this is just a way to depersonalize. Shots going, it's not children being injected, it's shots going into arms. Non-descriptive, just a body part. To me, it's just really obvious what they're trying to do with that language, and that's depersonalize. The delta, the whole thing about the delta, it's a pyramid. See, it's stuff like this that to me, it just proves that how dumb the bottom of the pyramid is. They should know that it's a bunch of BS by the media, but they're the ones that are first in line to go get the government injections. It's mind-boggling to me. for things like 25 hospitalizations per 100,000. The most ludicrous thing about the whole thing is if you even believe the numbers that they give, there's no reason to hype, but they're just reacting to programming. What a strange picture with the orange bowl. Orange really is a calling card for these people, in particular this bright shade of orange. You'll see it all over the place. Here's just something about chatbot. You can pause and read if you want to. I thought this was a strange quote to just appear. With the government, you never have time. I just thought that with the time speeding up these days, it was interesting that they said you never have time. Minds are most changed during personal conversations with trusted sources like clinicians or loved ones. So this really is true. Most people who are getting swayed into doing it, it's going to be because their family's pestering them. And that I know people like that who got it just because they were being pestered, and now they regret it. So hopefully some more people will. I think that this is just their last chance to, like, I don't think that this is the mark of the beast, but I think that all of this is leading up. This was like the test run. How is the world going to react when the beast system is unleashed? Because I think they know that their time is short and that it could be any day now that the real thing is going to happen. Jesus is going to come back. They're going to play it off as an alien invasion, and I think they're probably going to say the aliens made a disease or carried a disease with them, or they're a alien bio warfare. I really do believe that they're going to play it off as an alien story, and the beast system will be let out there. It's going to be different than this time because they'll just say, okay, we're not playing around this time. They're going to blame this whole thing on people who don't go along with everything that they're told. And so when the beast system is out, they'll just say, if you don't do what we say, you're out of the system. That's how it's going to be different. Anyways, this whole thing about loved ones really are pressuring others to get it. And there are a lot of people that's the only reason that they'll get it, because of societal pressure. And the Bible talks about this. For I'm come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Tons of families have been broken apart over this particular issue. And yeah, someone in my family has, so there's one person on my mom's side of the family that refused to get it, and they've basically been shunned. They're not allowed to show up to family things anymore, and yeah, it's only going to get worse than that. I mean, there's going to be a point where you literally won't be able to buy or sell stuff, and so people who don't take the mark of the beast are going to be just completely excluded from society, and it's already happened today. People have been excluded from their family. People are being fired from their jobs now, etc. Oh, I already mentioned this before. It's never going away. There would be absolutely zero reason for kindergartners to be in masks unless they're just, hey, this is what the future is going to be. They want people to grow up thinking that this is a normal thing, just like taking shoes off at the airport. And that's a ritual. So can you see the ritual behind taking your shoes off? The whole bomb in the shoe thing was just a total media fake story to introduce a ritual. So it's like the TSA agents area is sacred ground where you need to take your shoes off. That's what's happening there. That whole thing is just an elaborate ritual. Bad stuff, killing very fast. Yeah, even when the Delta, if any of this stuff ends, it's not ever going to really end. They'll be able to pull this stuff out at any time in the future and go straight back to as crazy as things are today. I don't think it's never going back to normal anymore. A lot of orange. Oh my gosh, the media. It's kind of weird too, because I remember being taught about this stuff, about how pay attention to the way that people word things, because I don't, just when you study a little bit about psychology and tests, you know, like seeding, the way that you word a question is gonna affect the way that people answer the question, and just, I don't know, really low level psychology. And to me, it's just really obvious when these stories are just completely made up. Do you know what I'm talking about? When the stories in the media are just totally fabricated. It's like, it reminds me of That Happened, right? That Happened. When somebody tells a story where it's like, okay, nobody believes that this really happened. Anyways, soon to be 9-year-old exclaimed with excitement and hope, I get my COVID vaccine for my birthday. It's like, who believes that this actually happened? Uh, there's 33s going on, a lot of 33s. Pray for the children. That's all I can say about this. You know, the children are getting a third of a dose, or 33% of what adults are getting. It's so sad to me. I resent that my family got me vaccinated against my will, and there was just nothing I could do about it, because when you're young, you just have to do whatever your parents do. I remember a dystopian, I forget what shot it was, but it was some point, I think early in high school, they took us all out and lined up at some community center and got a shot. I hated that every moment of it. It felt so wrong. But as a young child, there's just nothing that you can do. You just get forced to do whatever your parents do. So I pray for all the children out there. I pray that they don't suffer side effects, but I know it's probably an inevitable thing. And yeah, to me, so what this reminds me of is the part of the mark of the beast it's like an equalizer. Both small and great are going to get the mark of the beast. They'll probably introduce really young children into the system when it's first released. I don't know what it's going to be. Probably some of this crazy mRNA stuff. They're going to change people's the mark of the beast is going to be some crazy genetic. It's going to alter people's whatever genetic material really is, because I don't necessarily believe everything they say about DNA and all that. Anyways, I need to get through this. Uh yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that refuse this stuff, but there are so many people that are first in line to go get any shot. And these are real people in my life that I know that talk about I know people that have wanted to get a booster for a long time, which is so crazy to me, to think that these people are getting 3 shots within a year for something. To me, it's just blowing my mind. Like, I can't even put myself in that, being like that, being that scared and wanting to do what the media tells you to do. Oh, what I wanted to say here, the remaining third of parents said they will get their children shots only if required. So a third of parents are total pushovers, and once the government says, okay, you have to do it, well, that's their deciding factor. To me, this is everything that's wrong with the world, that how big of pushovers everybody is, and how apathetic about things that you should not be apathetic about. If you don't want to get something for your child, the fact that the government says, oh, well, you have to, that should not be the deciding factor. And that, I can't understand just the level of apathy and submission to authority figures. I really, really don't want to do this thing. Oh, but the government said I have to, so I guess I should go do it. That's a third of parents. It's just really sad. You're boosted. Now what? People always looking for answers. People don't even know how to live life anymore. They just have to turn on the TV and be told how to live their life. I thought this was the funniest thing. This reminds me of the stories that they try to pass off uh, of some 9-year-old saying, "Do I get my COVID vaccine for my birthday?" Like, that never happened. But the news will write these insane stories about it. I love, like, this is, who takes this for reals? Avoid brain damage. Oh my gosh. And they don't even get anything for it. This is like the funniest part for me, is that even the ones that toe the line, the that are just the first in line to get all their shots, they're wearing their mask at every opportunity. They're no better for it. They suffer all the same everything as everybody else. And yeah, this is really sad. There was just an article about the orange couch too. Like, I did not go out of my way to find orange stuff. It's just literally every article that I opened up had tons of orange stuff in it, and it happens to be the same bright orange shade. Yeah, I mean, I've said basically most of what I wanted to say. Although I'm sure that there's a lot of ridiculous stuff in here. Okay, so a new talking point these days has been shaming, like, look at, and this brings me back to, they used to talk about this stuff about looking for bias, looking for obvious bias. If you just pay attention, it's so clear how biased everything is in the media. So-called natural immunity. It's like, why did they need to put the word so-called there? So-called natural immunity. So something that I've just seen recently in the media, they've been really trying to shame the idea of natural immunity. And I've seen people put it in quotations. Here we see them call it so-called natural immunity. It's going to be a new talking point that natural immunity is not a thing, and that the only real immunity comes from a needle. That's going to be a talking point. I thought the phrase India scripts history is really telling. Music, show and music, special illuminations, the way they talk, special illuminations. The orange shares. So again, I didn't look these out, just there's always orange. Stories like this are so fake. So this also reminds me of, whenever there's something like this, be prepared for dozens of stories, fake stories like this. Oh, these people who were resistant totally changed their mind, guys. Yeah, these are just made up stories that people come up with. And it's the same as, there will always be a dozen stories about preacher, and notice how it's always a preacher. And you know why? It's because the preachers are just wolves in sheep's clothing. These people are evil, and they just get scripted to do these things. They know that they're a big joke. So it's almost always a preacher, an outspoken preacher. They'll be like, outspoken preacher who says government is bad dies from scary government thing. They run the same story over and over and over again. Preacher denies it, oh, they get sick and die, so that people can go, oh, see, look, the people, they do the same tricks over and over and over again. It gets insulting at a certain point. I thought this number was really weird. Like, where did they get these numbers? 13653 for a single violation. 136532 seemed like, I don't know, some sort of coded message. Big, it's going to be just a big thing. Almost every job, I mean, it will be to the point that you have to accept the mark of the beast to buy or sell goods. So it's going to be connected to employment too, I imagine. And I think I guess I'll just briefly mention, huge unemployment has been a big thing. Government assistance has been a big thing. So I personally believe that the beast system will have some sort of base. I think that, what do you call it, where everybody, no matter whether you have a job or not, will get a certain amount of money all the time, just for being a good beast citizen, for getting all your boosters on time. And I think it'll just be a source of punishment if you don't do what they want you to do. If you're late on getting your booster, they'll start docking you. And I think they could easily introduce a system like that. Just everybody has cell phones these days. And have you noticed how almost everything these days has some sort of tracking to your cell phone? Things need to be, you'll be doing something online, and they'll make you have something through your cell phone where, okay, go to your cell phone and get the code and then put it on this thing. Everything will be linked to people through their personal cell phone, I believe. And everything online will be attached to you. It'll be like a earthwide docs. Everybody will just be doxed, and your things online will be connected to you, I believe. Anyways, Another small topic for today, there's been a lot of ridiculous outer space stuff. They're always shoehorning in outer space, even when it doesn't belong. There's a lot of toilet stuff going on. They're obsessed with poop humor, fart jokes, and a lot of, anything silly, anything that a 12-year-old boy would find funny, they love to push that in the media. Space tacos. It seems like the only thing that they do in space is like fling their food around for the camera. And it's just so crazy that I used to believe this stuff, because that they would, if any of this were true, they would have to keep stuff up there very clean, but it's clearly really cluttered and dirty, and they're flinging tacos and they're letting their hair look like Bride of Frankenstein, and it's such a piss take. Chili peppers in space was a big thing. Space alien invasion, I think it'll happen when the firmament opens up. All I want to say about this is retards in space. Here's the taco thing. My best space tacos yet. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they just hang upside down and vomit comets. That's why this creature's neck is straining so much, their blood is rushing to their head, and why their necklace is not weightless at all, but it's going up, because they're hanging upside down. They got a 33. No, when they talk about the nose, that's a lie. Like, think Pinocchio. Or touching the nose. If somebody's talking and they touch their nose, that means they're lying. Compartments on the rocket's nose. So they like to talk about the nose. The nose. There's a long tradition of sending art to space. Arguably, the first artworks to make the journey were the logos designed and painted by the artist CC. Their name was CC on the 3 Mercury capsules. Well, CC, like the letter C is the third letter, so CC is 33. Hanks, so this was a good one from the news. Hanks then joked that they could simulate a space flight right there in the studio. It's about a 12-minute flight. Is that it? Okay, we could all do it in our seats right here, he said, before pretending to bounce around in his seat as if in a spacecraft. Shatner said his trip. Okay, so yeah, clearly they joke about it. Hanks, the joke here is that they could simulate it right there, because that's all it is. It's a simulation. That's the joke. The way that they talk about these events, if you just pay attention, you'll start to realize in these psyops, in the fake shootings, in all of their fake media stories, they love to talk about how it was dreamlike, how it didn't seem real, and so here they say it was unlike anything he'd ever experienced, because he didn't actually experience it. That's the joke. The joke is that it wasn't an experience, it was make-believe for the camera. Audrey Powers, I thought that was funny because it's like Austin Powers. So yeah, pray for the children. There are a lot of people that hate this stuff. You'll just never hear about it on the news unless it's one of those mock articles. They'll try to pretend like people who are against the vax die, or they'll try to pretend like the people who are against the vax change their mind, when the people who are against it will never change their mind, but they just won't make stories about that. When you see how one-sided the media is, it's just so you should do the complete opposite of what the media is clearly the media is full of propaganda to do X. Well, you probably should not do that thing. And to me, that's just something that I've kind of always known. And that used to be common knowledge. Just because everybody's doing something doesn't mean that you should do it. And if somebody is sitting there with a sign that says free and they look really shady, you probably shouldn't go up to them, and be scared of people offering you things for free. And if somebody tells you, hey, you really should go do this, this is great, well, you shouldn't just go do it because they told you that. That should actually make you stop and think for a second. And anyways, I keep going on and on. So this comment matched a feeling that I have earlier. Discussing not complying. So this person is noticing the particular language that they use. It's so obviously loaded, the way that they speak. And their bias shows so strongly that it blows my mind that people can't see it. Anyways, not compliant. Look at this adorable child and dog. Doesn't that make you feel safe? Just the low level at which the media tries to program people. If you have to be persuaded, reminded, pressured, lied to, incentivized, coerced, bullied, socially shamed, guilt tripped, threatened, punished, and criminalized, etc., you get the idea. The more you comply, the more they will want. I mean, that's the thing. If by now you can't tell that there's no real pandemic, that the pandemic is everything that the government is doing is the evil stuff. None of this is from some sort of biological or viral. No. Everything bad that has happened has so clearly been a direct result of the powers that be, the government. Nothing bad has happened from anything other than the government itself. So the fact that people are just waiting in line for the solution from them, it's just so, I don't know. Part of me feels so defeated that it's like, if you can't get it now, I don't think you're ever going to get it. Like, how are there people that still don't get it? What message are we giving our children? That drugs, pills, and injections are keeping us healthy? Telling kids back to normal yet still have to wear a mask. That was my point of there would be absolutely zero reason to force the children to wear these things unless they were going to bring this out in the future. The beast system, they're going to make people have face coverings. And it's a form of control. It's a form of humiliation, dehumanizing. As a man, I don't wear masks. I cannot put on a mask without feeling completely retarded and feeling shame, and men are not to cover their faces. And I think that some women feel better about it. I don't know. Just it seems like women are more likely to just go along with it to not get hassled, and women don't mind hiding in a crowd and blending in. But really something about it, I cannot stand it, and it's part of end times. It's just it reminds me of people saying that it's going to be Sharia law all over earth. I didn't believe that, but to me it's like, it's just crazy that so many people are okay with being forced to wear a face covering. I'll never get past it. Whenever the government tells me I have to do something and it's for the good of all, the hairs on the back of my neck stand straight up. God, please watch over those kids. They know not what evil they are forced into. I pray protection of Jesus cover each and every one of these children, as we who have been taxed without honor have fallen short. I mean, there's only so much that we can do. You can protect your own children, but besides that, but I agree. This is really sad, and everything that they're pushing on the children, it's extremely sad, but the Bible does say that everybody is going to be forced to take the mark of the beast. So I think that they're ready to do it at this point, in my opinion. Kind of a downer of a video, I know. But it's kind of nice to see that there are a lot of woke people in the comments, people that know exactly what's going on. It just seems like the divide has gotten so big. There's the people that are so asleep that it's like nothing's going to wake them up. And then there's the people that are awake, but it seems like we're on our own island. And it's unless you go and actually seek this stuff out, you won't find other awake people. God, come quickly. God bless everyone.